Words have power. They shape your reputation, define your influence, and determine whether people see you as wise or weak. But here's a brutal truth. Most people sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They say things that reveal insecurity, diminish their authority, and expose a lack of self-mastery. And the worst part? They think they're being honest, relatable, or even intelligent. But an intelligent person, a truly wise individual, guards their words like a warrior protects his sword. They understand that silence often speaks louder than speech, and that a single misplaced sentence can cost them respect, opportunities, and even their own inner peace. Think about it. Have you ever heard someone say, "I deserve respect"? The moment those words leave their mouth, they've already lost it. Respect is earned, never demanded. Or what about, "I can't control my emotions"? A statement like that reveals a weak mind. A mind that has surrendered to chaos rather than mastered it. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, men who lived by the principle that wisdom isn't just about what you know, but also about what you refuse to say. The things you never utter expose your level of discipline, your self-respect, and ultimately, your power. So what are the 11 things that the truly intelligent never say? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only recognize these phrases, you'll eradicate them from your life forever. Point 1. I deserve respect. Why power is never claimed, only earned. Respect is never taken. It is never demanded. It is only earned. The moment you say, "I deserve respect," you reveal a fundamental misunderstanding of power itself. Think about the greatest leaders in history, Marcus Aurelius, Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela. Did they go around demanding respect? No. They commanded it, not with words but with action, wisdom, and unwavering discipline. A fool believes respect is a right. The wise understand it is a privilege granted by others based on how you carry yourself. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus once said, "If someone speaks ill of you, do not make excuses, but reply, 'He did not know the rest of my faults, or he would not have mentioned only these.'" A person who truly deserves respect does not beg for it. They do not complain when they are disrespected. Instead, they cultivate such inner strength, such self-mastery, that others cannot help but respect them. But here's the paradox. Those who demand respect usually lack it the most. Why? Because true respect is given freely to those who embody it, not those who insist upon it. If you must claim power, you have none. If you must declare authority, you do not possess it. Look at your own life. Have you ever felt the need to prove yourself? To make others recognize your worth? The irony is, the more you chase validation, the further it runs. But the moment you let go of the need for approval and focus solely on mastering yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your discipline, respect will follow you like a shadow. So stop asking for respect. Stop expecting it. Instead, become the kind of person who naturally commands it. Point 2. It's not my fault. The death of personal responsibility. Blame is a refuge for the weak. The moment you say, "It's not my fault," you surrender control over your own life. You hand over your power to circumstances, to other people, to fate itself. And nothing destroys a person faster than the belief that they are merely a victim of forces beyond their control. The Stoics knew that responsibility is the foundation of strength. Epictetus, born a slave, could have spent his life blaming his masters, society, or his misfortune. But he didn't. Instead, he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That single shift, from blame to responsibility, is what separates the weak from the strong, the lost from the disciplined, the ordinary from the extraordinary. Consider this. Two people face the same hardship. One says, "This isn't fair, it's not my fault." The other asks, "What can I do about it?" Who do you think will rise and who will stay trapped? The answer is obvious. Those who take ownership of their fate, even in the worst situations, are the ones who shape their destiny. If you find yourself blaming others, your parents, your boss, society, stop. Because every time you say, "It's not my fault," what you're really saying is, "I am powerless." But you are not powerless. You are in control of your mind, your choices, your discipline. And that is where true power begins. So the next time you're tempted to blame something outside yourself, remember this. The stronger you are, the less you blame. The weaker you are, the more you do. Point 3. I don't care what people think. The lie that exposes insecurity. The people who say I don't care what others think the loudest are often the ones who care the most. It's a lie, a defense mechanism, used to mask insecurity. Because here's the truth. If you truly didn't care, you wouldn't need to say it. Stoicism doesn't teach us to ignore others entirely. It teaches us to detach from needing their approval. Marcus Aurelius ruled one of the greatest empires in history, yet he wrote in his meditations, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." The goal is not to reject what others think. It's to ensure that their opinions don't dictate your actions, your peace, or your self-worth. The real problem isn't caring, it's why you care. Do you seek validation? Do you fear judgment? Do you crave approval to feel valuable? If so, you're a prisoner to the very opinions you claim to dismiss. The Stoic does not say, "I don't care what people think." The Stoic says, "I care only about what is within my control, my actions, my character, my discipline." Think about it. When was the last time you truly acted without concern for judgment? Not out of rebellion, not to prove a point, but because it was simply the right thing to do. That is real freedom, not rejection of opinions, but transcendence over their power. So stop fooling yourself. It's not about not caring, it's about caring correctly. And that leads us to another brutal truth. Point 4. I can't control my emotions. Weakness, masquerading as honesty. Saying, "I can't control my emotions" sounds like honesty. It sounds like vulnerability. But in reality, it's an admission of defeat, a declaration that you are ruled by impulse rather than reason. The Stoics understood that emotions are natural, but surrendering to them is a choice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The moment you believe emotions control you, you hand over your power to chaos. You allow anger, fear, sadness, or anxiety to dictate your actions instead of discipline and wisdom. Imagine a man who lashes out in rage and says, "I couldn't help it," or someone who drowns in self-pity and says, "This is just who I am." These are not signs of honesty. They are signs of weakness. The strongest people feel the same emotions as everyone else, but they refuse to be enslaved by them. Consider a soldier on the battlefield. Fear is present, doubt is present, but he moves forward anyway. That is control. That is mastery. That is the difference between those who lead their emotions and those who are led by them. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't control my emotions," stop. Instead, ask yourself, what can I control in this moment? Because once you master your emotions, you master yourself. And once you master yourself, you become unstoppable. Which brings us to the next excuse, the one that kills all growth before it even begins. Point 5. That's just how I am. The excuse that halts all growth. Few phrases are more dangerous to personal growth than, "That's just how I am." It sounds like self-acceptance, but in reality, it's self-imprisonment. The moment you say this, you declare that change is impossible, that you are a fixed entity, incapable of evolution. And that is a lie. The Stoics believe that character is not a birthright, it is a discipline. Epictetus once said, "You become what you give your attention to. If you do not choose what thoughts and actions to focus on, you will be shaped by external forces instead." In other words, who you are today is simply the result of what you have chosen to reinforce. Nothing more, nothing less. Think about it. When someone says, "I'm just impatient," what they really mean is, "I refuse to work on patience." When they say, "I've always been this way," what they're really saying is, "I'd rather stay comfortable than improve." The truth is, every weakness can be trained into strength and every flaw can be refined, if you have the discipline to do so. Look at history. Marcus Aurelius was not born wise. Seneca was not born disciplined. They became what they were through constant self-examination and relentless effort. The difference between those who grow and those who stagnate is simple. The weak justify their flaws. The strong correct them. So the next time you're tempted to say, "That's just how I am," remember this. Who you are is not set in stone. It is set by the choices you make every single day. And that leads us to another dangerous belief, one that kills intelligence itself. Point 6. I have nothing left to learn. The mindset that kills intelligence. The moment you believe you have nothing left to learn is the moment you begin to decay. Arrogance is the enemy of wisdom, and the illusion of knowledge is far more dangerous than ignorance itself. Socrates, one of the wisest men in history, famously said, "I know that I know nothing." Why? Because true intelligence is not about how much you know. It's about your willingness to keep learning. The greatest minds in history, from Marcus Aurelius to Leonardo da Vinci, shared one trait: relentless curiosity. They never assumed they had arrived at the peak of knowledge. They understood that wisdom is a mountain with no summit. Contrast that with the fool. The fool believes he knows enough. He dismisses new ideas, rejects criticism, and refuses to question his own beliefs. And in doing so, he stops evolving. The moment you decide you've figured it all out, you stop growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. Consider this: a river that flows stays fresh. A river that stagnates breeds disease. Your mind is no different. If you stop learning, stop questioning, stop refining your understanding, your intellect will wither. So if you ever catch yourself thinking, "I already know this," pause. Ask yourself, but do I truly understand it? Have I mastered it? Have I applied it to its fullest potential? Because the wise never close the door on learning. They keep it open, forever. And that brings us to another fatal flaw: the belief that certainty equals strength. Point 7. I'm always right. Why the strongest minds embrace doubt. Nothing blinds a person faster than the belief that they are always right. Arrogance is not a sign of strength. It is the mask of a fragile ego, terrified of being wrong. The wisest minds do not cling to certainty. They embrace doubt, question themselves, and seek truth over validation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote in Meditations, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. For my goal is the truth, and the truth has never harmed anyone." That is the mindset of a true leader, one who understands that being right is not about defending one's pride, but about constantly refining one's understanding. But the fool? The fool clings to their opinions as if their identity depends on it. They argue not to seek truth but to win, and in doing so, they remain stagnant, blind to their own ignorance. Look at history. The greatest minds, scientists, philosophers, leaders, were never afraid to admit they were wrong. They saw doubt not as weakness, but as a gateway to greater wisdom. Meanwhile, those who refused to question themselves, who clung to their beliefs out of pride, faded into irrelevance. So the next time you feel the urge to prove you're right, ask yourself, do I want to win or do I want to grow? Because the strongest minds do not seek to be right, they seek to be better. And that brings us to the next silent killer of potential, one that disguises itself as harmless yet destroys everything in its path. Point 8. I'll do it later. How procrastination destroys your reputation. Procrastination is not just a harmless delay, it's a slow erosion of your self-respect and credibility. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you reinforce a habit of inaction. You signal to yourself and to others that your words cannot be trusted, that your ambitions are empty, and that you are ruled by comfort rather than discipline. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca warned, "While we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away." Time is the one resource you can never reclaim. Every task you push to tomorrow steals from your future self. And the more you delay, the more you weaken your own willpower, until eventually, inaction becomes your default state. But procrastination doesn't just harm you, it destroys your reputation. Think of the people you respect most. Are they the ones who delay and make excuses? Or are they the ones who move with urgency, who act when others hesitate. Reliability is power. Discipline is currency. The world rewards those who do, not those who wait. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'll do it later," stop. Ask yourself, if not now, when? And if it must be done, why not do it immediately? Because the hard truth is this: life does not wait. Opportunity does not wait. And those who hesitate are always left behind. And this leads us to another silent killer of progress, one that disguises itself as a virtue. Point 9. I don't need help. The ego's greatest trap. The belief that you can do everything alone is not a sign of strength. It's a symptom of arrogance. The greatest minds in history, from Marcus Aurelius to modern-day leaders, understood a fundamental truth. No one rises alone. Refusing to seek help is not independence. It's self-sabotage. Marcus Aurelius himself, despite being the most powerful man in Rome, surrounded himself with advisors, mentors, and teachers. He wrote in Meditations, "If anyone can show me that I am mistaken in thought or deed, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth, which has never harmed anyone." Strength is not about pretending to have all the answers. It's about knowing when to seek wisdom beyond yourself. But the ego resists this. It whispers, asking for help makes you weak. It convinces you that struggling alone is noble. But in reality, the unwillingness to seek guidance is the fastest way to stagnation. The strongest people don't try to prove they can do it all. They leverage the knowledge, experience, and skills of those around them. Look at history. Every great warrior had a teacher. Every great philosopher had mentors. Even the most self-disciplined Stoics learned from others. To reject help is to reject growth. So the next time you find yourself saying, "I don't need help," stop and ask, is this my strength speaking, or my pride? Because true strength is not about standing alone. It's about knowing when to stand together. And that brings us to the next silent destroyer of intelligence, one that disguises itself as a protective shield, but only leads to self-destruction. Point 10. It's too late for me. The excuse that betrays potential. There is no faster way to guarantee failure than to convince yourself that it's already too late. This belief is not just false, it's a betrayal of your own potential. The Stoics understood that as long as you are breathing, you have the ability to grow, improve, and change. Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Life is not measured by how much time has passed, but by how much effort you are willing to invest now. History is filled with those who refuse to let time dictate their potential. Marcus Aurelius became emperor in his 40s. Epictetus, born a slave, didn't start teaching Stoicism until later in life. Colonel Sanders built KFC in his 60s. The idea that you've missed your chance is an illusion, one designed to keep you comfortable in regret rather than pushing forward into possibility. The real problem isn't time, it's fear. Fear that starting now means admitting you've wasted time. Fear that you won't succeed fast enough. But what's the alternative? To do nothing? To surrender? That is the only real failure. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, "It's too late for me," stop. Ask yourself, if not now, when? Because the truth is, the only time that's too late is the time you refuse to use. And that brings us to the final and most dangerous lie, the one that keeps people trapped in mediocrity forever. Point 11. I can't change. The final barrier between you and mastery. This is the most dangerous lie of them all. The moment you say, "I can't change," you surrender your power. You accept weakness as permanent. You become a prisoner, not to reality, but to your own belief. The Stoics rejected this entirely. Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of the most respected philosophers of his time, said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Your nature is not fixed. Your mind, your discipline, your strength, these are all within your control, but only if you choose to control them. Look at history. Marcus Aurelius was not born wise. He disciplined himself into wisdom. Seneca was not born resilient. He forged resilience through hardship. No one is born great. Greatness is built. The only difference between those who improve and those who don't is belief. Those who grow believe they can. Those who stay the same tell themselves they can't. And let's be clear, change is not easy. It requires discomfort, discipline, and relentless effort. But the truth is, you are changing every single day. The question is, are you changing for the better, or are you letting yourself decay? So if you ever find yourself saying, "I can't change," stop. Challenge it. Ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What if I can? Because the moment you accept that change is possible, the path to mastery opens before you. And now you have a choice. Stay the same or become something greater. The decision is and always has been yours. At the core of all these dangerous phrases lies one simple truth. Your words shape your reality. Every time you say, "That's just how I am," or "It's too late for me," you are not just describing your situation, you are defining it. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and the quality of your thoughts depends on the beliefs you reinforce. You are not fixed, you are not powerless, and you are not destined to remain the same. Every moment is a chance to grow, to refine, to become something greater, but only if you choose to. The question is, will you? Let me know in the comments. Which of these mindsets have you struggled with the most, and how are you working to overcome it? Let's start a discussion and grow together. If you found value in this, don't forget to like this video. It helps spread these lessons to more people who need them. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss more wisdom on Stoicism and self-mastery. And if you're ready to go deeper, check out this next video on the Stoic habits that will change your life forever. Click here, and I'll see you there.